Thank you. Let me do the honors. Sorry, give me 1 second. I have to read something that John asked me to. Yes. As a preliminary matter, this is Sundar Sivaraman, Zoning Advisory Committee Vice Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. John Coutinho, Ted Barker Hook,
Ted's here.
Elise Barrett Mihalowski,
This is way over.
Ron Foisey,
Be careful.
Ron Foisey here.
Madhu Chandrasekhar,
Madhumita Chandrasekhar here.
Mary Larson Marlowe, Rachel Royston,
Rachel's here.
Curtis Smithson, he's out, we know that, and Sundar Sivaraman present. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. John Gelsich.
John Gelsich present.
Good evening. This open meeting of the Zoning Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with the recently signed an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. This act includes an extension until April 1st, 2022 of the remote meeting provisions of the Governor's March 12th, 2020 executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The new law has two major parts. First, the new law allows public bodies to continue providing live, adequate alternative means of public access to the deliberations of the public body instead of holding meetings in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public. Adequate alternative means may include, without limitation, providing public access through telephone, internet, or satellite-enabled audio or video conferencing, or any other technology that enables the public to clearly follow the proceedings of the public body in real time. Second, the new law authorizes all members of a public body to continue participating in meetings remotely. The open meeting law's requirements that a quorum of the body and the chair be physically present at the meeting location remains suspended. For this meeting, the Zoning Advisory Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's web meeting calendar and the ZAC agenda identifying how the public may join. Additionally, the meeting may also be broadcast by HCAM through one or many of its channels or platforms. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. We now turn to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each item on the agenda. If members wish to engage in dialogue with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Not every agenda item will feature public comment. For items with public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Wow, that was a lot. Thank you, John, for sharing that. With that, let us introduce the agenda for today. The agenda. Sorry. Yes. Oh, I don't have the agenda with me.
So through the chair, the first item is the one principal use per lot with revised language.
Yes. Thank you. John, just to make sure everybody is aware of what this is, can you please give a brief introduction? It says there obviously, but if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll share my screen and put the language up there. So in a previous meeting, Zach recommended approval for the planning board to change one principal use per lot. And we talked about how there's no provision for really limiting one single family use per lot. And that was the impetus for this. And then we extended it to one principal use. But after discussion internally with the zoning enforcement officer and land use director, we thought it would probably be safer and a little bit easier to just change it to one single family dwelling per lot, because there are situations where there are multiple principal uses per lot that we don't want to discourage. And even though they are allowed by zoning in those areas, the language may be a little confusing if we have it as no more than one principal use per lot here, except we're allowed by zoning bylaws, and then have it differently elsewhere. So that's what the change is. Keeping principal use definition, but really just changing it to one single family dwelling rather than one principal use.
Okay. Questions from the board? Maybe we should have a brief discussion about. So, John, just for, again, sorry, I should have registered everything, but between what had been proposed by you in the earlier meeting and now, the primary changes are what? So just for clarity.
It's really just changing this.
Okay.
So
you
and I should
added
say,
okay.
sorry, through the chair, I should say, the board could recommend that both get put before the planning board and then have the planning board decide which one they want to use. Since you already did recommend the one principal use per lot, we could do this as a second option and say, you know, or would you prefer having one single family dwelling per lot for the planning board? So you could either send both as a recommendation or just one.
No lot may be used for more than one single family dwelling. Did we not? So don't we allow for? So the single family dwelling, does that already encompass the? I forget the term I'm trying to use. So the au pair suite. So isn't there we passed something in town law last time, right? Which allowed us to, we removed the term family member and.
Yeah. That's different. So that was for accessory dwelling units.
Accessory dwelling, exactly. Thank you. So does this provision get in the way of? Okay.
No, because those are accessory dwellings.
Okay.
So they are accessory to the principal use. So you could have a single family house and then an ADU with it. And I mean, if you had an ADU by itself, that would be the single family use.
Okay.
Yeah. So that they would not impact one another.
Okay. Got it.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ron.
I really support making this change. It seems to clarify it and really get to the heart of the matter. And I'd rather make the change and send the change to the planning board rather than giving them multiple options, because I think this is a better approach.
Through the chair,
Yes, Mary.
I concur with Ron.
Other members? Yes, I definitely concur with this too. Yes. Others, please.
Through the chair, I also agree. I think our role is not to present a whole bunch of options to planning board, but to say we talked it over and this is what we think is best.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Yes, Elise.
I also agree with what everyone else has said.
Okay.
I think it's better if we make one firm decision.
Okay. Others, Madhu.
Hey, sorry, my computer crashed. I had to connect back from another machine. I'm sorry if I missed a couple of minutes. What was the question?
So the recommendation from the majority of the board is that we should actually send this particular change. No lot may be used for more than one single family dwelling. That is a change that John has proposed into the one single family dwelling per lot zoning article. except where otherwise specifically allowed by these zoning bylaws. So we
Yeah,
want to
I
make
have-
sure that that's the recommendation we send to the planning board.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. John, does this require a vote for this particular section, or should we? So
Yes, so it would require a vote to recommend this to the planning board, and you could probably also add to that motion to, I guess, in place of the previous recommendation.
okay, got it.
Through the chair, just a point of order.
Sure.
The script I sent you was probably out of date in terms of the members of ZAC, since we have had some new additions. So I just want to mention James Burton is also present and on the call. And since we have some full members that are absent, he would be able to vote on this.
Okay, got it. Sorry, James, and for not mentioning your name, but thanks for pointing that out, John. So can we do a vote on this before discussing item number 2 on this page?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll make a motion to recommend this this draft zoning article for one single family dwelling unit per lot and replacing it with the previous recommendation.
Second.
Any further discussion before we do a vote? I'll take that as a no. Ted Barker Hook,
Aye.
James Burton,
Aye.
Rachel Rawson,
Yes.
Ron Foisey,
Aye.
Mary Larson Marlowe,
Aye.
Elise Barrett Mihalowski,
Aye.
Madhumita Chandrasekhar,
Aye.
and Sundar Sivaraman is an aye. And the motion passes. Okay. Moving on to the next. Wasn't there a second item in that, John?
Yes, so the other agenda item is the dimensional table.
Sorry, okay. So I'm sorry, I apologize. So there were 2 items in that screen share that you just did.
Oh, no, that was just one. So it was 2 parts. One of them was to define principal use, which was the same as the previous recommendation.
Okay.
It was just adding that definition.
Sure. Okay, got it. Perfect. So in that case, we are done with that agenda item number 1, right?
Correct.
Okay. The second item was to have a brief discussion on the dimensional tables, right?
Correct.
Once again, if you don't mind giving a brief introduction into what we discussed.
Yes. All right, so at the previous meeting, we looked at the dimensional table, and I believe this is what it was, edited with some of the comments. So you guys asked for 2 options: the dimensional table with the notes as footnotes, and then a note that is for reference only, and then another table that has the references, that has all these changes, and then the references to the section for that district. So this is the first option. So this is just basically the dimensional table that was presented last meeting with the notes defining gross floor area and the principal office for the entire development site qualification there. And then I will show you the second one.
Sure.
This is the same table
Yep.
with the notes. The note is here. The formatting is just messed up. So this note is also in the table. But then it also has the reference to the section that these districts are in.
Okay. So are we adopting one or the other, or should we be discussing which one are we adopting? Is that what we're doing here?
1 second.
Sorry.
So it's up to the board to decide what they want to do. You could recommend approval of one of them
Yeah.
or none of them. I wouldn't recommend both of them because they're
Yeah.
obviously the same thing, a little different. But yeah, so recommend either the one with the references. If the concern, if I remember correctly, was that adding a new column may make it a little too cluttered. So if it doesn't make it too cluttered, then that may be the one you want to move forward with because it's got the same information, just additional information. Or if it does look too cluttered, taking that column away and just having the dimensional table without the references, but with the notes. Or any changes that you guys may recommend, I can always revise this to add or subtract as needed.
Got
Through
it.
the chair, may I
Yes,
ask a
please.
question?
Yes.
John, on the table that has the references in it, is it possible to mess with the margins a little bit to get that footnote on the same page?
Yes. It
Okay.
worked in Google Docs. And then when I saved it to PDF, the formatting like just tweaked a little bit. But yes, we can fix that so that it would be on the same page.
Okay, because I like that one better. I just didn't like that the footnote was on a different page. That would be very confusing for people.
Through the chair?
Yes, Mary.
I agree with Elise. I like option 2 better for Appendix B with the zoning bylaw reference, and I don't think it's too cluttered.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Annalise, that having that zoning bylaw reference column actually makes a huge difference here. Other comments?
I agree.
Yeah, me too. It actually makes sense to have the reference there, and it's nice that it all fits together. It's not as crowded as I anticipated it.
Okay.
Through the chair, John, I assume the wording that got lost in the formatting is exactly the same as on option 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I assume so. I just didn't get a chance to read it. I like option 2. I think it looks good with the.
So can
with the
we look at that footnote, John, for a minute? This table is for reference only. In the event of a conflict or inconsistency between the table and chapter 210 zoning bylaws, the latter shall prevail. Is there a likelihood of such a conflict or inconsistency between those two artifacts?
No, but it's kind of a CYA thing.
Okay.
Just in case there is something that we've missed, the bylaws will control and not this table.
Okay, a table by itself, the fact is it's a mere exhibit, and the bylaw is the one that is actually
Correct.
the primary instrument, which.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay. Any other comments before we put this to vote? I'll take that as a no. Does someone want to propose a motion to recommend this to the planning board?
I'll make a motion. I'll move that this be recommended to the planning board to be added to the zoning bylaws for clarity.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Do we need to make clear that we're talking about the one that's on the screen? Option 2 in the motion?
Option 2. Option 2, yes,
The reference column.
friendly amendment. Good.
Accepted. Thank you. Any other comments? And I don't see anyone from the public. So let's put this to vote. Ted Barker Hook,
Aye.
James Burton,
Aye.
Rachel Rawson,
Aye.
Ron Foisey,
Aye.
Mary Larson Marlowe,
Aye.
Elise Barrett Mihalowski,
Aye.
Madhumita Chandrasekhar,
Aye.
and Sundar Sivaram is an aye. The motion passes. Thank you. I think the third agenda item was the minutes from October 25th. Have people taken a look at that? Any changes required?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 25th as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll take that as a no. Let's put that to vote. Ted Barker Hook,
Aye.
James Burton,
Aye.
Rachel Rawson.
I abstain. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to comment on the notes. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Foisey,
Aye.
Mary Larson Marlowe,
Aye.
Elise Barrett Mihalowski,
Aye.
Madhumita Chandrasekhar,
Aye.
and Sundar Sivaraman is an aye. That passes. What's left on the agenda? John, should we discuss meeting dates for next year, or is that something that we've already done?
Yes. So I wasn't going to discuss meeting dates, but we really shouldn't discuss anything else other than adjourning. But one thing I did want to mention is maybe at the next meeting, which is December 13th,
Okay.
we should have an agenda item about future meetings in person versus remote.
Yes.
So we don't have to discuss that now. We can discuss that then, but I just thought I'd bring it up.
Oh, okay. So this has to make it to the agenda for the December 13th meeting. That's your point,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I think a similar item came up in the planning board, the previous meeting. And I think the option was left open for a hybrid setup. And I think the HCAM Studios was suggested as a possible venue. The chair of the planning board, Gary Trendle, said that the preference would be for people. I mean, in the sense that his preference would have been for people to come in person. I think there was some mixed opinion on the level of comfort in everybody coming in person. So yes, I think it'll be an interesting conversation at the ZAC as well. Level of comfort and all, given that booster shots are happening right now, but there is a lot of things going on, which I can completely understand if people still have misgivings about that. Yes, so we'll discuss that on December 13th.
Could I just make a comment about that?
Yes, please.
I am going to be in Miami from mid-December, probably until beginning of February. So I won't physically be here.
Okay.
Happy to attend if I can on Zoom, but
Okay.
So through the chair, something that a lot of us have found out in this pandemic is that board members were always allowed to participate remotely as long as a quorum of the board was present in person.
Oh.
We never really took advantage of it. So as long, even if we go in person at any point in time, if somebody is out of town and still wants to participate, that is possible as long as a quorum of board members is in person up until April 1st. That may also be indefinite. They may take the law or whatever permissions are in place right now and extend them indefinitely. And then we could always have remote meetings. We don't know. As of right now, we're operating under no remote meetings as of April 1st. But even given that, board members can participate remotely as long as a quorum is present in person.
Okay. John, just out of curiosity, other than this item, do we have a suggested agenda for the December 13th meeting?
We do not.
Are we at liberty to discuss that?
Sure.
Okay. Any ideas of what we should be discussing besides the hybrid versus in-person meetings for the next meeting? Are we done with the tree cutting ordinance? Is that not something that I know we had tabled that? So I wasn't sure if that is something we should be taking it off the back burner.
Through the chair.
Yes, please.
It has not been completed. And so it definitely is on our agenda. But I think there was probably some background work that needed to be done before we brought it to the full team again. So the question is whether or not it makes sense to, just discuss it with our chair ahead of time.
Okay. My concern.
Sorry, guys. Looks like we are getting Zoom bombed, which I thought was done. So I'm just removing people now. You're all on mute. It's a little bit longer, sorry. All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
all
Just
mute
how many
yourselves
people
now.
bombed this meeting? I mean,
I saw like
Fucking
5
retard.
people come in that I didn't recognize. I was like, all right,
Wow.
something's going on here.
I know, I was thinking that same thing.
Interesting.
So I think we would need to discuss that with our chair about the tree cutting before bringing it back to the team. But there's
Sure.
a number of other items on our to-do list for discussions that are, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think that certainly there are a number of items that could be discussed at December 13th.
Okay, I mean, we can wait for Curtis to come back and have him make a determination. Yeah, I mean, but rather than put all the onus on him, I was hoping that I don't. Was that another bomb or what was
No,
that?
I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
Soviet national anthem.
Ah,
Yeah, I remember that from the Hunt for Red October. You're right.
All right. So through the chair, just a suggestion since this
Kick
seems to
me
be
out,
going well,
faggot.
and maybe we adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
second,
That's
Okay.
recorded.
Let's put it to vote. Ted Barker Hook,
Aye.
James Burton,
Aye.
Rachel Rawson,
Aye.
Ron Foisey,
Aye.
Mary Larson Marlowe,
aye.
Elise Barrett Mihalowski,
Aye.
Madhumita Chandrasekhar,
Aye.
and Sundar Sivaram is an aye. Hope everyone has a great and safe Thanksgiving. Eat turkey in moderation. And drink in
Happy
moderation.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.